So we're asked to find the mean, median, and mode of a data set containing 10 numbers. To start, I'm going to show you how to do this by hand. And then we're going to repeat the problem, but we're going to use technology. In particular, we'll be using Excel. So in order to approach this problem by hand, there's one important thing that I need to do first. And I only need to do it for the median, but I need to order my data from low to high. So let me rearrange this from low to high, and then we can start tackling this problem. All right, so I have my data sorted from low to high. Now, I don't need to do this to compute the mean. The mean is simply going to be adding up all of these numbers and then dividing by the total number of data values that we have, which is 10, right? So that's going to be our mean. And since addition doesn't care what order you do it in, it was not necessary to organize these numbers low to high first, but we do need it for the median for sure. And I find that it's helpful for the mode as well. So let's add up these numbers, divide by 10 and get our mean. All right, so when I add up all of our data values, I get the total is 881.9. And I still need to divide that by 10. So for our mean, I'm going to get 88.19. So that was our mean. Let's skip median for a second and go to mode. So mode is just the number that occurs the most frequently, if one exists. There might be more than one. So if we look at our list, we can see that 108.6 occurs 3 times. Right, so 108.6, that's going to be our mode. And now that we've done those two, we can focus our attention on the median. So for the median, we have to find the centermost value. We know that we have 10 numbers. So that means that there's going to be 5 numbers at the top, in the top half, and then there's going to be 5 numbers in the bottom half. And so notice that if we were to perfectly split this right down the middle, there's not a number there, right? So our median isn't a number on the list. Another way to think about it is when we have an even number of data values in our list, the median is never going to be a number in your list. It's always going to be a midpoint because you're going to have this perfect division of top and bottom. So for us computing our median, all we have to do is take the midpoint of 85.4 and 87.8. That is to say the median equals. So midpoint, all you have to do is just add them up and divide by 2. That gives you the midpoint. Right, so our median was 86.6. So that's how you do this problem by hand. So now what I want to do is I want to show you how to work this problem using Excel. You definitely don't have to. I think maybe in this instance, it's almost easier to just do it by hand, but this is good technology practice for future problems. So let us switch gears into Excel. Here I'm using the mean, median, and mode from FTD, which is a frequency, oh, that should be FDT, a frequency distribution table. Whoopsie. So what I've done here is I've just typed in the data from our problem into the column where it says data. And notice that it's not in order whatsoever. So we need to fix that first. So the way that you can do that is you can highlight your data and you can go to data. And it might even be under home as well. Yeah, under either, but there's this sort and filter. So if you click there, it'll drop down. You can go from smallest to largest. And then it's going to say, hey, you're sorting this one column. Do you want to sort all the columns that are next to it as well? And we don't. This is useful. Like, let's say you had last name in column 1 and a first name in column 2. If you were to just sort the first column, what's going to happen is you're going to scramble people's first and last name, right? So Susan B. Anthony might become Susan B. Bennett, and Kelly Bennett might become Kelly Anthony, if you know what I'm saying. So you can just continue with the selection here since there's no other data, and then click sort. And so notice now that it's from low to high. There's a couple things that you can do here. If you want, you can just say, okay, well, this isn't really truly a frequency distribution table, but I can make it one by just saying, hey, the frequency is 1. Like, this is a total cheat. Because remember, the frequency just says like, hey, how many of these do you have in your list? Well, we have 1. And this feels goofy, and it is goofy, but it totally works. The other thing you could do is, look, we have 3 of these 108.6s, so I could just make that a 3, and then I could kill off this guy here and this guy here, right? So I could do that too. So when you use this, it gives you your cumulative frequency, and then it also gives you your frequency times your data value X. So in order to compute your mean, what you want to do is you want to compute your frequency times X. So this is just going to be your sum of your D column. So you can make it go all the way to 21 if you want, and then that way it's just saved, but you could also just go to 9, that's fine. So notice what I'm doing here is I'm typing D2 to D9. The other thing I could do is I could just highlight my mouse. Those are the things I want to add up, and then I hit enter. And the other thing for the sum of frequency, there's 2 ways you could do this. One, you could just say, okay, well, this has to equal my ending cumulative frequency, because we know that the last entry for cumulative frequency is your total frequency. So I could do that, right? I could do that. Or I could say, hey, I just want you to add up all of the frequencies that I have. So again, I'm just highlighting that and then hitting enter. Both fine. So now in order to get the mean, what you would do is you just take your sum of your frequencies times your data, and you divide it by the sum of your frequencies, and you hit enter. So the division symbol is going to be that / under your question mark on your keyboard. Bing, 88.19. And that's what we got last time too. Let's go over, again, skipping median, let's go to mode. So the reason I like saying that there's 3 108.6s is because all of a sudden it's like bing, bing, bing. Hello, 108.6 is your mode. So just be careful here. 3 is not the mode. 3 is the highest frequency. It's telling you, hey, over here, look over here, the mode is really close nearby. The mode is not 3, it's 108.6. So the 3 tells us where the mode is. Look left, boom, there's your mode. So there's your mode. Okay, now for the median. So we looked here and we know, looking at the bottom of our cumulative frequency, it says, hey, you have 10 data values in here. So we know that we have 5 values on the top, and then we have 5 values on the bottom. So the median is going to be between the 5th value, which is 85.4. So that's, this 5 is telling us that the 5th value is here. And then it's also involving this value, 87.8, we have to use the midpoint between those two. So I can use Excel to compute the midpoint. I have to be very careful with my parentheses, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to get my midpoint to this, close my parentheses and divide by 2. And that's going to give me my median. I want to demonstrate something really quickly. So remember that it's 86.6. If I were to do something that I think a lot of people are tempted to do, which is this plus this divided by 2. When you do this and you don't have the parentheses, the only thing that's getting chopped in half is A7, that 87.8. So what we're going to have is 85.4 plus half of 87.8. So that's going to give us maybe like 120, 130-ish. That's not the median. The correct thing is to first add these. This is PEMDAS. First add these, then divide by 2. And that's going to give you the correct median. The median should feel like it's in the center of your data. If you get a median that was like 130, I mean, that's bigger than our biggest value. So that doesn't make any sense. Your median and your mean need to feel like they're in the middle of this data value. 88.19 feels like the middle. 86.6 feels like the middle. They're different middles, but they need to feel middle-ish. So that's your tip off if you ever kind of go astray in your median calculation. All right, so that was the hard version of that question. And that's it, that's all I got.